You clicked on this video because you're searching for inspiration, that creative spark that makes writing feel magical. But what if I told you that isn't as elusive as we think? In fact, there's a repeatable, sustainable way to find it, even if you work full time, have a family, friends, and other hobbies. And in today's video, I'll show you how to find it. Hey, I'm Colby. I am a fantasy and science fiction writer who aspires to publish a book one day. I've written 3 books in 3 years while having a full life and being busy. But I've learned a thing or two about finding inspiration even if it seems like it's not there. First, let's start with what inspiration actually is. It's more than just that spark that makes you excited to write. It's a web of connection between your ideas, your life experiences, your influences, emotions, your unique voice. It's all of that coming together to coalesce into a feeling that makes you excited to write. When it hits, all you want to do is write for like 10 hours straight. But here's the truth. Inspiration isn't always a passive thing. It's not something that happens to you. It's something that you can make happen. Think of your book like a garden. It needs water to thrive. You could wait around and wait for it to rain. That rain would be the inspiration. It will happen eventually, but it's not reliable. Or you could go hook up a hose to your house, pay for the water bill, and water that garden whenever you need to. It's consistent, reliable, and it works every time, as long as you're paying the bills. That is what inspiration can be like. I think too many of us writers feel like if we don't have inspiration, then we can't write. That's a myth, and I think it's a myth that can stall your progress for years. It can be the difference between writing 1 book in 3 years and writing 3 books in 3 years. And I feel like if you don't step in and take action against that, it's just going to keep happening. Things like imposter syndrome is going to creep in heavily. Things like burnout or just not having a routine that works for your life and basically not feeling like you have enough time. All of those things are what keeps away that inspiration, that fire that fuels you consistently, and then just stalls your progress in the book. But I've learned how to shove those things away. They're still there. I'm just pushing them back a little bit stronger to give myself more room to breathe and let that inspiration flow in. There's really 5 main things. There's no level of importance. These are all just things that I think help. Number 1 is engage with art. A lot of people talk about writers reading books in and outside of your genre, but if you really are pressed on time, just read in your genre. That alone can help with creativity for ideas and inspiration. I am always inspired to write my own stories after reading a really good book in fantasy or science fiction. But like I said, not only books, watch some shows. There is amazing storytelling out there. You can glean from those to help inspire you for your own, or just the pure storytelling aspects of it can just fuel your fire to make you want to write more. And here's another one. Go to an art gallery. Some of the books I've written were purely inspired by art that I saw at an art gallery or an art museum. I think you'd be shocked with how much there is to pull from those beautiful artworks. Obviously, like that makes sense saying it out loud, but until you go with that intention, you're showing up to say, I'm going to try to get inspired for a story. You'll be amazed. Number 2 is get moving. I have my doctorate in physical therapy, so I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the net positives that come with exercise. And now this doesn't need to be something intense like running marathons or a high competitive sports. If that's your thing, that's totally cool. But it can be as simple as initiating a walking routine into your life, or going to the gym a few times a week, or hiking a new trail every once in a while. There are a ton of physiological things going on when you exercise that are in your favor for creatives. One of the biggest ones is a chemical that gets released into your brain that promotes cognitive function and neuroplasticity, which is the ability to learn new things. I personally have had some of my best brainstorming and problem solving sessions while out on a walk when my blood was flowing and that chemical was pumping through my brain. But there is just something about moving that it just gets you wanting to tell stories. I know that's a weird thing to say. Doesn't seem like that those would correlate, but if you're creative, I bet you would be shocked with how just getting moving and getting out there and doing some active things is going to make you want to write your story more. That kicks in that inspiration. Number 3 is practicing mindfulness. Now, full disclosure, this is not something I'm very good at. Mindfulness doesn't have to be pure meditation, but that's an option. I've tried meditating over the years. I'm not great at it. Like I said, it's hard for me to get my brain to shut up. but I still know that it's important. There are plenty of research studies out there that show people who practice mindfulness are thinking more clearly and are better at executive functioning. So things like planning your book, things like working through problems in the story, that stuff can get easier. And when it's easier, you find more inspiration because you're excited to work on it. You're not bogged down by these problems that keep arising that you can't work through. Basically, when things are clear, it lets in the room for creativity. And it really doesn't take much. The research shows it's about 10 minutes a day. I used to use Headspace. I know a lot of people still use it. It's a very good app and it has 10-minute meditations, mindfulness there. Here's a pro tip. You can practice mindfulness while exercising. Specifically, I used to do that while going on walks. I would go walk somewhere without headphones and I'd just breathe and focus on things and go through some mindfulness. So you can combine those two to get the ultra benefit. Number 4, write somewhere new. This is a super active and immediate way to kickstart some of that inspiration. Novelty can really inspire. Go to a coffee shop or a library or a museum. I recommend going somewhere that is like artsy, that is more of that like creator vibe, and that tends to kickstart that a little bit more than other places, especially if they're like super busy and loud. But sometimes going to a loud coffee shop, putting in some headphones, getting a cup of coffee and having your book in front of you can be super helpful. Here's some more pro tips that I really recommend. Go to like a local park or a botanical garden or like a lake somewhere that has a bench. First off, you get some vitamin D, which is proven to make you happier. Like that releases serotonin in your brain. Also, you get fresh air. I think that can help you operate a little bit better. And 3, a lot of times you're not going to have internet service on your computer. You will with your phone, but it's going to take away some of those distractions. So I would go outside and I would write, and I would pull up a Word document and write without having access to the internet or anything like that, so I was less distracted. All of that can inspire you. And number 5. This is the boring one, but it is set up a routine that works for you. I've talked about this plenty on the channel, and I have other videos that are all about that. I can post them at the end. There's a whole bunch of reasons why consistency and discipline and routine can be very helpful to help inspire you, but I think there's something else too. When you create something that works for you and something that you can adhere to and not get burned out by and feel sustained, it's a great feeling. You feel pumped that you're able to do this and you know that you're making progress, and that alone can really inspire you. I get up earlier than most people I know, but I love it. Like I wake up and I'm excited because I know that it's sustainable and I'm setting myself up to succeed, and then I'm putting words onto the page and those compound over time. So set up a routine that works for you, and that's going to push away a lot of those resistances that I mentioned earlier in the video. So that's 5 things. I want you to try one of those this week. You don't have to do all 5 of them all of a sudden. That is not a recipe for success. Pick something. Maybe this week, go to a coffee shop that you like, or maybe go to a new coffee shop and try writing there for a couple of hours. See how it goes. And hey, remember, you don't have to write 500 words a day. You don't have to write for 2 hours a day. I think when you hold yourself to those high standards, it doesn't end well most of the time. Those tend to block out that inspiration because you just get overwhelmed. Think about inspiration like a fire. It's something that is always burning, even if it's just embers, but it can also rage. So you're going to have days where you are pumped and you write for hours. You're going to have days where you just don't want to write at all. That's okay. Take off days. But know that there's things you can do to stoke that fire, to raise the flames. All right, guys. That's it for today's video. If you feel like this helped, subscribe to the channel. I'll have plenty of other stuff on this channel about sustainability, about productivity, about writing tips, and sometimes just some inspiration, because we all have stories to tell, and I think you should tell them, and I think the world deserves to hear them. All right, guys, until next time, keep writing.